this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
Hey, welcome to Get It Right Texoma with the Texoma Trio. Mike Hendren, Terry McAdams, and Trey Sralla as well. How are you guys?
Good.
Good?
Having fun.
Good? Having fun? Having a good time? All right.
Yes. This is was good last time we did a podcast.
Seems like it was just 5 months ago.
Yeah, it was crazy, huh?
Wrapped up the last one. Anyway, welcome back to our podcast.
You guys wear the same clothes all the time?
Pretty much, yeah. Well, when you live in a box like I do.
There you go.
In a van down by the river, kind of a thing. It's I don't know. Is that really a fear for some people that they're going to end up in a van down by the river, or do some people want to end up in a van down?
Oh, I think if you're homeless in America, it's more of a choice.
Yeah.
It's one of those deals, or you've burned everybody.
Yeah,
we've talked about that before.
You burned everybody, yeah.
If any three of us woke up tomorrow and everything was gone, everything we had, our house, our significant others, everything was gone, I don't think any of us would spend one night on the streets.
No.
Somebody would be calling. I feel like if I woke up and I had nothing, that both of you guys would offer me a bed in your house, your couch or something, and I would do the same. And we both have huge amounts of people who are coming out of the woodworks to help us because we've never burned people, and all we've done is treat people well.
Yep. I feel confident. And not only that, but you'd have the wherewithal and the if you will, contacts and things to do to be able to start over.
Yeah.
You know, and because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
If you get down to that low. So.
You do. Yeah. Sometimes sometimes what puts people in that situation, I think, is a lack of determination, a lack of will, just a lack of an ability to rebound. But I think most people, I think, are able to do it. Well, I mean, you look at the number of people that are multimillionaires today that were at one point in their life bankrupt, and sometimes bankrupt several times.
Right.
Yeah.
Harlan Sanders, the founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yes.
Even Mark Cuban, I think, was bankrupt at one point
when he
early
was
in
pretty
his
young.
career.
But look at Ray Kroc. The thing about Ray Kroc, he didn't become Ray Kroc, the successful mega mogul.
He was our age.
Yeah, he was in his 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a salesman.
Milkshake machine salesman.
But he had sold Murphy beds. He had sold all kinds of kitchen appliances. He was just kind of a serial entrepreneur sales guy and just rocked along, had an okay house and all that sort of thing. But he went very far into debt. If you ever watch a movie, there's a movie called The Founder.
Yes.
Pretty good. And there's also a documentary to it. Ray Kroc went and put his house up to get to the McDonald's Corporation going and almost sunk.
Well, even Elon, if you believe his story, he was like almost down to nothing, and he had to put up so much in his Tesla stock, or SpaceX or something wouldn't have happened. I mean, it was literally they were taking a gamble on it, and then he paid back the loans and everything else that he did get from the government and everything.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep my foot in the door here, because if the motorcycle shop thing doesn't work out, I'm going to work my plan is to work during the day here at MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road.
Yep.
Yeah, I better get the address right. And then at night, I'll cook cookies for Lollipop Sweet
There you go.
Hey, I've had 2 jobs before. I can do it again.
Yep.
Oh, I got like 6 right now, in fact.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, this podcast being brought to you in part by.
I only have 1 paid job, though. I have a lot of jobs, but the rest of them are volunteers.
See, that's kind
I
of
must be a dumbass.
That's kind of where I am. Is I've got these like committees and stuff and things that I serve on, and it's like there's no paycheck at the end of the month.
But there's a lot of satisfaction.
There is.
I will say this, and I'm going to throw this in here. I'm sorry to grab this, but if you have a chance to volunteer, seriously do that. Find something you're passionate about and volunteer. You will get so much out of it. First off, you're helping somebody.
Yeah.
Whether you serve on a board or a committee or something like that, you'll help somebody, but you will get so much out of helping people, and you'll make these connections.
Yeah.
I've served on the school board, and I have great, deep friendships with people that I never would have crossed paths with. I was on the campfire board. There's people that I'm friends with I never would have crossed paths with before.
That's right.
You know, I'm in Redneck Culinary Academy. People that I would not have crossed paths with.
That's right.
And these are dear friends now. Mm-hmm. And so you expand your circle of friends, and you get to know people, and you're doing good on the same time, and it fulfills you. There's no negative to volunteering.
No, there's not. Well, this podcast brought to you in part by Eddie Hills Fun Cycles, of 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls since 1966. EddieHillsFunCycles.com, the website. MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, Suite 3B, Wichita Falls. We record this podcast in the MacTech Solutions podcast studio, in fact,
right.
here at 4020 Ray Road. And online at mactech-solutions.com, and Lolly and Pop Sweet Shop online at lpsweet.com, and on Facebook as well. So Wichita Falls Ballet Theater presents A Midsummer Night's Dream, May 17th from 7 to 10, May 18th
1 to 3.
1 to 3. Okay, there we go. Yeah. My eyes got lost for a moment.
I think that's a Friday and a Saturday, or a Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, it's a weekend thing. And so Wichita Falls Ballet Theater, one of those organizations that they put on several great productions throughout the year around Texoma. Of course, you know, the Nutcracker obviously being kind of their big one around Christmas time.
But Midsummer Night's Dream is a huge ballet production.
It is. And I would suspect probably one of the more complex ones to put on, too.
I don't know.
I
believe it or not, I know it's hard to tell with this body, but I don't do a lot of ballet.
Well, but I guess this is a ballet version of it, because I know that the one that I was involved with in a little college time when right out of high school at Tarrant County Junior College in Fort Worth, and they put on it wasn't a ballet though.
Yeah,
so I guess it was a drag show.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
I wasn't in it, by the way.
just had to
But
go
I will
there.
say that I was, it was the first time, not in the show itself, but it was the first time I saw two men kiss. It was I remember that. Of all the things to remember, I saw it in it was the cast. There was a couple of cast members and I was forever scarred.
I was going to say, I was wondering what your last word was going to be there.
Okay, no, but anyway.
Oh, well, at least he didn't say transformed.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Exactly what I was looking for.
Okay. Where the hell was I even going with anything
sorry,
here?
And I didn't say transformed by that. That was Mike.
Yes. Well,
Not transformed.
Yeah.
not transformed.
Traumatized.
Traumatized. Okay. Yeah. Different T word there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Trey and I did a little theater in high school, too.
Yep,
Did y'all
absolutely.
kiss?
No, we did not.
Not each other anymore.
We didn't even hold hands.
Okay, good.
I did have two kissing scenes in high school theater. Obviously, they were both girls, but yeah, I did. I was fortunate enough, and both of them were pretty attractive girls too. So,
Oh, well, hey.
it was a pretty good deal for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucked for them, but
Well,
I
good.
couldn't find one that would get close enough to me.
But
for
that is
so.
Shakespeare, right?
Yes.
Yes, Shakespeare. Yes.
Yes.
I never read any of it, but you know.
Shakespearean theater. It is. And then the Huskies block party coming up May 25th, 11 to 7 at Castaway Cove.
Y'all were Huskies.
Yes, we were. Speaking of that, go to the Huskies 4, the number 4, Life reunion page on Facebook for all the details on that.
Yes.
Deb Sherman is a Husky class of '87 is heading this up. She is a juggernaut. Let me tell you, she is a force of nature when it comes to organizing things and getting things going on.
In terms of class, she's one of our elders.
Elders.
We still call her ma'am.
Yeah, we were freshmen when she was a senior when we were freshmen.
That's right. We were just fish.
But yeah, Hershey Huskies, the Hershey, Wichita Falls High School, and Ryder High School are all going away. They're going to turn to junior highs, and there'll be 2 new schools opening up here in town, Memorial and Legacy High Schools. Which, by the way, they just had a deal that had I known about it enough time, we would have put this on. They had I think called banner signing ceremonies for both of those high schools. And I didn't attend either one. I was out of town both days, but I think it's pretty neat where they were at the stadium, so it had a big area, and they introduced all the staff and stuff, and they had a huge banner, and everybody could sign the banner, and it's going to be hung in the school. And I think in perpetuity.
Well,
I
good.
think. But it was a neat kind of get together where I think they sold T-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of a meet the staff and get excited for your new school. And if you're a kid who's in school, I think it's great for those kids to get excited in school.
I saw a photo the other day. They've got the gymnasium floor installed at Legacy.
Yeah.
And holy smokes, it looks good.
It's awesome.
And it was, it took like a week to get this thing installed because it was, it's a gymnasium floor.
Exactly.
It's not a
bathroom.
Yeah.
It's not a 10x10 bathroom that you're going to put tile in.
Little precision goes into doing this, a lot of work. And, but it was very beautiful, very nice, very nice. I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of opportunity to tour.
Yeah, there'll be some tours, I believe, in May.
Okay.
Probably a Memorial, because Memorial is farther along than Legacy is.
Uh-huh.
And so I think it's about a month ahead. I think they're already putting furniture in Memorial right now.
Oh, okay.
So look for that, and we'll keep you informed. We'll keep you abreast of that when we find out. But I imagine it'll be in May.
I really want to take a tour of them. I'm curious to see how this is all turned out.
You just got excited because I said breast.
Well, pretty much, yeah. That's kind of where I am in life.
Beavis and Butthead.
I'm sorry, I can pass it.
That was a throwback.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! There's a really funny Saturday Night Live bit that it's a recent one, and I can't remember the comedy actor's name.
It's the black guy. He was sitting up
one of the
front.
kids, yes.
He was being interviewed
about AI.
Right.
Yes.
And then this couple of guys that appeared to be Beavis and Butthead, interrupting and making their
and
sounds.
He's distracted by these guys that look like Beavis and Butthead. It's really very funny. It really is. And then the female actress who's playing the interviewer, she turns around and looks at Beavis, and she just loses it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They were all.
She completely loses it.
The cast was
her composure. Oh yeah.
Kind of like our podcast here.
It's just
a couple of times ago. Yeah.
Every once in a while, Saturday Night Live still does something funny.
Oh sure, absolutely.
Every once in a while, they still do something funny.
I've still not gone back to watching it though, and I was a watcher. I watched from the say the late mid '80s, until about 2 years into Trump's presidency, and it got to be where every sketch was about Trump, and every sketch was just a hit piece. And it's not because I give a shit about Trump. I've been very vocal. I'm not a Trump fan.
No.
I'm a fan of his policies. I'm not a fan of Trump, the person. Never have been.
Yeah.
But it got to where it wasn't funny. It was just nasty. Everything was going after Trump or anybody in Trump's cabinet. And some of it was funny here and there, but then it just got ludicrous and it got old and tired. So
well, sometimes
kind of like Madonna, old and tired.
So, by the way, have you seen the latest picture of her?
She's scary.
Ooh.
She's had a little work.
I'm telling a little too much work.
It's
it's
surgery
like
gone wild.
Don't you get to a point as a man or a woman? Don't you get to a point in life where you've got to stop dressing like you did when you were 25?
Yeah.
I mean, it's at some point, don't you mature to the point where you got to start, I hate to use the term dressing your age, but I can't think of a better way to put it. Dress your age.
Yeah.
Well, at least dress your decade.
Yeah. Look, try to look like you have matured a little bit, I mean, I can't, well, of course, I've almost always dressed like this, I guess, but, I just don't understand why she feels it's necessary to run around on stage half naked still.
Well, it's not just that. Remember when she moved to London and had this bullshit English accent?
Oh my
girl, you're from like Brooklyn or someplace like that. Like New Jersey, and with a very strong New Jersey accent, she had this fake British accent, like she had all of a sudden had elevated herself. Yeah. And by the way, I'm married to an English woman, and I know a bunch of English people, or plenty of English people. Just because they talk fancy does not mean they're fancy. I promise you. There are plenty of unfancy English people.
Yeah, we have this fascination in America with accents like that.
Exactly.
Somehow we see that as some sort of sign of sophistication.
Yeah, it's not. There's plenty of unsophisticated ones. No. When you have somebody ask you to pass the butter or get a glass of water, that's English. That as well. That's Cockney. Or they tell you to go up the tables and chairs, which means the stairs, and my plate's a meter tired, which means my feet. That's British as well.
You know, and
Cockney rhyming slang.
I think Dick Van Dyke has had a really, really extraordinary career. He's a funny guy. His TV show from back in the 60s was hilarious. But that Cockney accent that he had in
Mary Poppins
drives me absolutely batty.
Yeah.
I was walking through a store the other day with my wife, and they're playing in one section of the store. They're playing some Disney music, and they were playing was it Chim Chim Cheree or whatever?
Chim Chim Cheree.
And I'm sorry. For me, it's like nails on a chalkboard kind of stuff. It really is. And I got mad respect for the guy, but that was like exaggerated.
It's over the top.
And maybe it was on purpose. I don't know. Maybe
sure.
it was on purpose they did it that way. But just to me, it's like.
Well, we saw it here at the Wichita Theater here recently. It was Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
And it was, and now that you point that out, it was the same character played by Dick Van Dyke. And it was
It's really over the top kind of.
Yeah, it's just the way.
And maybe it was on purpose.
It'll be okay. Okay, I know you're stressed.
It's like, and I really
Somebody
want
do some nails on the chalkboard to calm him down.
I really wanted to enjoy that movie. I really did.
Yeah, well.
Well, last time we
Anyway.
talked about that, we promised that we would talk about the Ukraine war.
Yes.
Yeah.
Several things.
Rain.
I know there's a lot of thoughts on that. Here's the thing that I'm about with these wars and sending foreign aid. I understand that there's times that we need to send foreign aid, but I think we need to quit giving people stuff and start loaning people stuff. I want money back with interest or stuff. Ukraine has a lot of oil. Fine, we'll take it in oil. And I also don't want to give anybody cash. We'll give you weapons and guns and ammo and that sort of thing if we need to help support you, but we ain't giving you cash. Because there have been some stories about some of this money that we're sending Ukraine going to pay for pensions and stuff for former military people and stuff. No. We're not going to give you, in my opinion, we should not give you a nickel of cash. It's all in weapons and that sort of thing. Weapons, ammunition, guns, rockets,
In
missiles, and that sort of
kind.
stuff. Yeah, but we're not giving it to you. We're selling it to you. We'll sell it to you on credit, but we are going to collect. And if we have to sing Guido, we'll sing Guido.
Well, there was talk. I read anyway that part of it was some forgivable loans. So
Yeah, I don't see any reason to forgive it.
yeah. Well, but how long does this go on? I mean, how long have we been doing this already? I mean, it's not going to be. It's not Vietnam yet, but still.
Well,
But we're not doing. To be fair, we're not there though.
I heard.
I know.
No, but I
still.
did hear someone make the argument the other day. Said you look at our history, really since World War II. We've never totally left Japan. We've never totally left Europe. We're still in Germany.
Yeah.
We're still all over Europe.
Just not Afghanistan.
Afghanistan is one of the few places we ran away from that
we need to be.
We should have been.
Yeah.
Should have stayed. But we go into these conflicts. We establish bases, and we stay there for perpetuity. And the fear is that that's exactly what's going to happen with Ukraine. Is at some point we're going to insert ourselves in that war physically, establish a base of operations there that will become it'll be deemed temporary, but it'll become semi-permanent.
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think so?
No, I do not. I don't think the American public will put up with it. I think it would be a political death knell to anybody to do that. I do not see Americans going into Ukraine.
Well, but Trey, here's my thing. If you stop the average person on the street right now and tried to have a conversation with them about the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the money that we're sending, my guess is you might find 1 out of 100 people that can have a meaningful and intelligent and knowledgeable conversation about that.
That may be true.
Most people, I think, are still, it's this way. It's almost how our society is designed. Everybody kind of gets in their own little bubble, and that's where they live. And I'll give you a good.
This makes it worse. Worse.
It does. I will not argue that. It does isolate. It has isolated us more.
Yes.
Technology has
connecting us. We're more connected, but yet we're isolated.
We're
but
less
not
connected.
physically
Yeah.
connected
Oh,
to people.
sure. No.
And so here's a good example I heard someone give. There are people who live, for example, in New York City, in one of the 5 boroughs of New York City. And they live in a particular place, and maybe they've lived in the same apartment or condo or whatever for 15 or 20 or 30 years. And they never venture more than 5 miles outside their home. They work in that borough. They buy their groceries there. They eat dinner at a certain restaurant 3, 4, 5 times a week, whatever, or lunch or whatever. But they never venture more than just a few miles outside of that bubble. And they never see the other side of the damn river. I mean, they never go. They don't leave. They get trapped in that little bubble, that little world there, and there's nothing to compel them out of it. And that's what has happened to a lot of our societies. People get caught up in these little bubbles of their own, and nothing compels them to get outside that bubble and learn anything else and know anything else. And I think that is part of what kind of hamstrings us when it comes to things like Ukraine and all the money. Most people, I think, are probably blissfully unaware of how many billions of dollars we are shoveling into that black hole called Ukraine right now.
Yeah,
it is a black hole.
We do. I think we do need to support Ukraine. I don't think we need to just let them be overrun by Russia. I do think
I'm not saying that either.
That but I do think we need to quit supporting them with cash. Like I said,
Agreed.
we need to support them with arms.
Agreed.
And our government should be demanding the Ukrainians to come to go to the table and the Russians to go to the table and figure this thing out.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, Ukraine cannot defeat Russia. No. Period. It just can't. There's not enough people there.
But at the same time, we just cannot keep handing money, hand over fist to them. We just can't do it. But Trey, we've got people in Washington that seem hell-bent, guys, on just perpetually sending money to Ukraine.
I agree. Well, there's warmongers. There's people in Washington who are making money.
Yes.
And people, their donors are making money on this.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem we have. But like I said, we quit giving stuff out. We start loaning stuff out. I want Iraq. I want our money back in oil. You Afghanistan, do they have any minerals or what do they have that we can take? I want our shit back. I want our money back. I want to be paid back. I want to be paid back in interest. Yeah. That was American taxpayer dollars that were used to do all that sort of stuff. And by the way, this is withdrawal from Afghanistan, and I've said this a million times over. What we should have done, in my opinion, is we should have maintained one base in Afghanistan, okay, and have almost nothing to do with what's going on out in the outside of that base. Except for we fly sorties around that area and look for, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, all those places, and look for terrorist camps. And when we find them, we bomb the shit out of them. Mm-hmm. And then we call the Pakistani government and say, by the way, we just bombed these people. We're not asking your permission because we're looking out for our best interest. We have to put America first. I'm not into bullying people. I'm not into trying to take over people's land. I'm not into trying to tell people how to live their lives. But the fact is, we have to look out for America first. And I do believe that we do need a presence in the Middle East for quick reactionary forces and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's move a little closer to home here. Alicia Barcina, am I saying that name right?
Don't know.
Mexican foreign minister was in El Paso on Wednesday, this past Wednesday. We're recording this on the 25th of April. So I guess this past Wednesday she was there with a message to residents of Mexican descent uncomfortable with Texas' aggressive efforts to enforce immigration laws. And you want me to read this quote that she?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
okay, she said, "You're not alone. We want Mexican and immigrant communities here to know Mexico will support them whether or not Senate Bill 4 is enforced. We are very concerned. That's why we are here to promote initiatives like Know Your Rights, legal assistance, and 24-hour protection for our nationals. We believe it's a law that discriminates, that is anti-immigrant." So Senate Bill 4. This is a law that would stop local governments from preventing law enforcement from arresting people who are in the country illegally. It's been blocked by the courts. You got a federal circuit court that's weighing in on the constitutionality of it.
It's basically Texas doing the job of the federal government.
Exactly.
Is what it is.
Right now, we have a federal government, an administration, that is refusing to do its job where enforcement of our border is concerned. We have people pouring into our country illegally. There's a term that they use now called gotaways. And I believe this describes the individuals who get into the country illegally. They never get properly processed.
Yeah, they know they see them on cameras or something. They know they know they're here.
Yeah,
but they got away.
They got away.
We don't even have their names.
And there's literally right now millions of people in our country that have just disappeared into the ether. They are somewhere in the United States. We don't know where they are. They could be in Texas. They could be in Michigan. We don't know where they are. Yeah. They literally have evaded any sort of interaction with immigration people, with border and customs people, and they've just disappeared into the country. We don't know exactly how many there are. I have seen estimates of the total number of people in the country illegally. I've seen estimates as low as 20 million, as high as 40 million. When you have that much disparity in the estimates, all that tells me is they don't really have a damn clue.
Yeah. We have no clue.
We don't know. And part of it is the border is so overwhelmed with people getting into the country. We don't have enough people to effectively enforce the border. And we have policies in place that are preventing the ones who are there to enforce the border from doing their job.
Yeah, well, this is the problem with this. And this lady, this blowhard lady on this deal, this is not anti-immigrant. This is anti-illegal immigration.
Right.
You need to understand, in Texas, if you're not from Texas, and you're not, especially if you're not from South Texas, Texas and Mexico, the people of Texas and the people of Mexico, let's forget about the governments. There is a lot of border crossing that's been back and forth for years. By the way, they're our number one trading partner. Mm-hmm. We trade more with Mexico than we do anybody. But there's a lot of people that live in Mexico that work in the United States every day. And there's people that live in the United States that work in Mexico every day. Not as many, but they're due. So there's a lot of that. And it's never been a problem. Where the problem is the illegal. And that's why this has to be enforced. And for her to say that it discriminates. It doesn't discriminate against anybody. I take it back. It does. If you're illegal, it discriminates against you. It discriminates because the word discrimination, let's go back to what the word means. All the word discrimination means is you are sorting this thing from this thing. That's all it means. I can discriminate these two microphones. This one is green and that one is blue. That's a discrimination.
Yeah.
Okay. Discrimination, We've taken that word and we've turned it into something derogatory.
And we've identified people who appear to be not from this country and are here potentially illegally. And with due diligence and proper processing, we have the facility, have the capabilities right now to then put them, to return them back to where we believe they are. And then, but there could be a process. We should return them first, and then we'll process the package. Well, right?
But the fact is, SB4 doesn't bother anybody who's here legally.
No.
If you have a Texas driver's license, or if you have a documentation, you have a visa, you have a passport and stuff like that, they're not going to bother you. They can't arrest you. That's against the law. That's illegal search and seizure.
Well,
they can't arrest you. So they're not going to arrest people just because of the color of their skin.
No.
It's going to be whether you're legal or not illegal.
But if the chances are that you have a darker skin coming across. It's like you're human. Oh, you're discriminating against humans then.
Well, no, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Right.
It's
but if
ridiculous.
you're coming through a legal port of entry,
right,
and you show your passport, hey, I've come back through a legal port of entry, and I've had to walk through with my daughter, who both of us are lily white. She's blonde hair, blue eyed like I am, and we still had to show. I had to show ID.
Right. Well,
that I'm an American citizen.
And I bet you, if you, as a white guy, were across the border in Mexico and you decided that you'd swim across the river, that you'd probably get arrested.
Oh, absolutely.
And checked on. And probably there's even a law, I'm sure, that says you got to go through the port of entry.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you might get in trouble.
Why is it that America is the only country that's not expected to protect its borders? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, we have, I think we have come, a lot of nations, not just Mexico, other countries, have come to expect the United States of America to be the world's babysitter. We're to be the one that provides for everybody. Americans, you're all so wealthy. Y'all can. I got news for you. Most of every one of us sitting at this table, most of the people, ourselves included, most of the people we know work for a living. Not independently wealthy.
Nope.
We don't have, not one of us at this table has multi-million-dollar stock portfolios like, Dr. Tony Fauci has. We don't.
Speak for yourself, Mike Hendren.
Yeah.
We cigars with $100 bills.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Monopoly money.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just we've come to be expected to provide so much for so many at the expense of ourselves.
At the expense of the American taxpayer.
Exactly.
All of this money has to come from somewhere. And by the way, there are people in our country, there are Americans that are not getting services because services are going to illegal immigrants, to illegal aliens.
Every time I hear someone say, well, the government paid for something, the government didn't do
the government doesn't generate a dollar.
A damn thing.
All they do is collect money. They don't generate money.
The government officials can set policy. They can set guidelines and policies and rules, and they can set budgets. At the end of the day, the tax dollars are being generated by us, the American people. We are the ones providing the money.
Yeah.
We are the ones funding the government doesn't fund crap.
And it's,
period.
And also, are you not skirting your fiduciary responsibility as a elected official and or an appointed official?
Absolutely.
For the money? You're supposed to follow what the law. The law has been passed to have but funding for various programs and everything, such as the law enforcement. Their job, part of the job of the federal government for the ICE and all them is they're budgeted and they're funded to handle illegal crossings from the border, and they're supposed to put them back, and we're not allowing. So we're not only are we not following the law, we're misappropriating the funds. And fraud, waste, and abuse of the positions that are funded, that people are there. If they're not going to be able to do their job, then you need to take that. We need to pass the law. Right. It is criminal.
It literally is criminal. And Terry, you served in the military. How many times did you hear fraud, waste, and abuse?
Oh,
and how many people you heard and you heard of people, whether you knew anybody personally or not, who went to jail?
Yeah. Well,
let me Leavenworth over fraud, waste, and abuse.
Let me say this: my first 10 years in the Air Force, that was a very big deal in terms of that's what we heard a lot of.
Right.
My second 10 years, along with a lot of other things, I think we softened up a bit. There was our security mindedness seemed to lax. We didn't have the fraud, waste, and abuse in our face all the time. We had other things that were more important, like wearing our blues when we're in a combat force, just so that in Air Education and Training Command, I can get on a soapbox here, but basically,
we don't have another hour.
Yeah, we don't have another hour. But my point is that even in our military, I experienced, and again, I've been out 20 years now.
Yeah.
And I can imagine what the emphasis is. Well, we already know. We've seen the reports and everything. But anyway, but yes, in my first 10 years, it was a big deal. That didn't make the law go away. The laws and the rules and the regulations, they're all there. But the emphasis, I mean, when we see
enforcement.
Right. I'm sorry, end of year is always hey, we need to spend $100,000, and who's got their package together, and you can get it together fastest and get it down there.
That used to be the joke when you start seeing flowers planted and the golf course manicured and stuff like that. Yeah, when I was even in APHIS, I started working for APHIS, which is the Army Air Force Exchange Service. If you ever hear anybody talk about the PX or the BX, that's what that APHIS. And APHIS is that weird group.
Well, it's now the exchange.
Yeah, well, they used to call it if you're a military, Army was PX.
Right, but I'm just saying they've rebranded.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, it was a BX when I was there.
Yes, BX and
base
PX.
exchange and post exchange.
Yep.
But it's a weird combination of retail and corporate and military.
Yeah.
Because it's a money making entity that operates on a military basis.
But they're exclusive.
Exclusive. And we used to hear that, so it's kind of a monopoly.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But I think they're limited on how much money they can make and stuff like that. But it was one of those deals. When I first did my orientation, we got beat over the head with fraud, waste, and abuse.
Yep.
Because all the military things that the military did, we were still expected to abide by those principles, the guidelines. We didn't have to salute people and stuff like that, but we were expected to follow those principle guidelines.
Yep.
And fraud, waste, and abuse was one of the huge things that they beat into our head.
Yep. It's a company store.
Yeah. Sold by Cole.
Yeah, it's a company store. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we beat this dead horse.
We did. All right, we're going to wrap this one up. This is Get It Right Texoma. Thank you for joining us for this episode. It's brought to you by Eddie Hills Fun Cycles, 401 North Scott, downtown Wichita Falls. EddieHillsFunCycles.com, MacTech Solutions, 4020 Ray Road, Suite 3B, MacTech-Solutions.com, and Lolly and Pop Sweet Shop, LPSweet.com, and on Facebook as well.
I want cookies.
Okay.
And a pie.
All right. You know what? I brought cookies. Next time I'll bring the pie.
Okay.
There you go.
I'll bring the pie. I'll even bring the plates.
I'm a cookie guy. It doesn't matter to me. Pie, I take or leave pie or cake, but cookies. I'm a cookie monster.
Trey, okay. This pie is a religious experience. It will change your life.
There you go.
It will change your life. Until next time, guys, thank you for joining us again for Get It Right Texoma. Y'all take care. We will see you down